Let's go to Joseph now in Orlando. Joseph, it's all about you right now. Even though I just told everybody it's not about you, I'm about you. What's going on?
Good morning. Hope you're having a blessed year so far.
Man, I tell you, life is good.
I'm calling in because I'm trying to explain my 3-year gap on my resume.
Okay.
I've been getting calls back from people, and I even have great interviews over the phone. The thing is, I think when they see the gap, and I explained to some of them that I felt ill, that it takes them back a little because I was ill for 2 years. So I just started last year because I got the clip from the doctor. I just started looking for a job again.
Okay.
So I think that 3-year gap is what's hurting me.
And how are you reflecting the gap in the resume? Are you presenting a resume that has like a chronological order of every job you've ever had?
Yes, from oldest to the youngest.
So,
and when it comes to the last job I had, instead of putting the date there, I just leave it blank.
Yeah. So that's part of the problem is you're drawing attention to the gap, okay, as opposed to focusing on what you can do to help them win. Do you see the difference? See, at the end of the day, the employer wants to assess, can Joseph help me win? That's what they're wondering. If I get Joseph in here, can Joseph do the job I need him to do, which helps me and the team and the organization win? That's all they care about at the end of the day. Now, if they start focusing on concerns like, ooh, Joseph's had a lot of health problems, and if I hire Joseph and he goes down physically again, that puts me in a tough spot. So what do? They move on to somebody else. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
So what we got to do is we got to keep them focused on how you help them win. You've been cleared medically, correct?
Yes, sir.
Great. So is your health really a factor? Is it relevant right now?
Oh, not no more.
No, that's my point. I know it's not.
Being hard-headed.
Yeah, but
stop being hard-headed and got well. So.
Good. But my point is that it's no longer relevant, right? It just doesn't matter anymore. It's not even a real limitation. But what's happening is you're doing what most people do, and they have these resumes where they put out a chronological order of every job you've ever had. So here's what I want you to do, okay? When this phone call is over, Madison's going to help you, but I want you to download the resume guide from KenColeman.com. Have you seen this yet?
Yes, that's actually what helped me last year get the phone calls. I started getting there was a lot of phone calls coming in, and they'll do the interview, and I only have one HR person call me back and said the 2-year to 3-year gap was an issue, even though she enjoyed the interview and would love
but here's the deal. But Joseph, listen, you didn't do it exactly the way I tell you. I've got a template now. So I don't know if you've seen it since we've added the resume template where you plug your information in and it populates the resume for you. Have you done that?
Not that one.
Okay, you got to go get here's why. Even in the resume guide, before we had a template, I never told you to put in a chronological order of all your work. All that I recommend is that you put relevant work in there, okay? And here's why. It actually helps you, at least I believe it gives you the edge. When they go, well, you're saying all I put in is relevant job experience. I've been working for how many years? How many years you been working, Joseph?
Going on 10.
Okay, so my point is, do you really need to put in every job you've had in 10 years, or do you need to just put in the relevant job experience?
Put in the relevant.
Right, so that's what I teach. So if they start asking questions, you go, well, I didn't put in every job I've had. I listen to the Ken Coleman Show, and this is a resume guide that he has. It's worked for hundreds of thousands of people, and it's just my relevant experience because you just want to know what I've done that makes me qualified to do this. Do you see how that changes the entire conversation?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me just address something. If they say, well, we would prefer to have your entire job history, well, then that's when you've got to give them the entire job history. But you don't have to give it to them right out of the gate. Do the resume exactly the way that the template forces you to do it. Okay, that's going to change a lot. Now, it's also going to require that you really, really, really use your web of connections and use that proximity principle. It says in order to do what Joseph wants to do, he's got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. Here's why. When you make strong connections, Joseph, in the areas that you want to work, or with specific people who are doing something that you want to do. All of a sudden, it's no longer about Joseph's health and his 3-year gap. It's like, oh, I'm going to recommend Joseph because Joseph can do this. He's a rock star. He's a really nice dude. So we eliminate this, I'm just applying cold, as this anonymous person who's got the name Joseph at the top, but they don't know you. And the reason they don't know you is because you don't use your web of connections, and you're just applying and you're going through the phone interviews. It's going okay. And then we get to the gap and they go, oh boy, that makes me nervous. I'm going to drop you. That's what's happened. As opposed to going forward, Joseph, you have the right resume that doesn't have everything you've ever done and showing a gap. It shows relevant work experience, but it's got people at the top of the resume that are connections that are in those companies, or they're in the industry and they go, Joseph has done this before and he's really talented, really good guy. Think the world of him. I highly recommend him. And then you've got people that are recommending you and going, listen, I think you need to interview my pal, Joe. All right? That's what we want. Because then by the time you get into the interview situation, they've heard all these great things about you, and they're not just doing the basic, let's look at every job you've ever done. They go, oh, we've heard great things about Joseph. He's got all this great experience, and you go in and the health never comes up. But it is not fair that people will do that, but they will do it if you give them the evidence. Versus you're not hiding anything, and there's nothing to hide. It's not relevant yet. Some people will get scared. So we focus on, can Joseph do the job? Does he have the talent? Yep. Does Joseph like this work? Yes, he does. Does Joseph really care about the work and the results? Yes, he does. Then Joseph is a great fit. He's got high character. He comes with great references and recommendations and endorsements. We're going to hire Joseph. That's how it works.